We are here today with Marley Hale. The new album, or I guess I should say EP, is By My Own Ways. First song you just heard was To Those at My Window. Marley, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Excellent. So how much is this voice on the album based on your own?
I think, I mean, I think this EP is really like told entirely from my voice. And some of the songs like Dear Girl and On Your Knees are my own address to myself. But they're still told from my voice. I guess in some ways like they're kind of an imagined omniscient character, but it still comes back to me and what I wish for myself.
All right. So first song, we have someone who is suspicious of those who show an interest of her, afraid of someone getting too good a look into her feelings. This EP really does cover a lot of pain and abuse, but the first the first song, you introduce us to someone who is maybe a little mysterious to those not quite cued into the signs. So why did you choose to start that way?
Hmm. I it's a that song is it's funny to me. I think it that song was inspired by I was staying out in Joshua Tree for a little bit alone in California, and I um it was a time when I was kind of taking some time to myself to write and also to um kind of think about what I wanted from my life. And that song, I was staying in this little cabin and there were a few bees that kept like buzzing at all the windows of the cabins. It seemed like there were just like two in particular that kept coming to the windows. And I thought it was kind of a perfect metaphor for like just being mistaken for something, like assuming that people don't actually want what like that they don't know what who you are and that they don't want what you actually are. And I think it was kind of a in the moment it was something I was feeling. It was kind of a fear I felt about like my interpersonal relationships. Like, if you really knew, would you want to be in my life if you really knew who I was? And I think in that way it's kind of it kind of is the perfect way to start the EP because it's like, are you sure you want to know? And then the whole EP is kind of a self-exploration.
So time out. The flower thing wasn't a metaphor. You were actually confused why they would not want a flower instead of you.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
It was once called the Bee song, but I knew I had to change it. That was just kind of like the thing that came to mind. But that's how the band knows it. It's the Bee song.
So after the B song, a lot of this EP keeps coming back to a barroom scene. Why did you sort of keep heading back to that well?
Um, I think it felt like the most true. I mean, as a um I've definitely like I'm sober now, but I've, spent my fair share of time in bars and as a musician, I'm often that's kind of I go to shows, I spend a lot of time at bars with friends, and I think it's kind of the scene in which or the setting in which most of like my kind of interpersonal life takes place is especially in New York, I think a lot of life happens in bars, and it just felt kind of a fitting through line. Yeah.
So, you mentioned that Dear Girl is sort of you talking to yourself. Have there been times when you've been in a bar and wished you could like reach across and scream at some girl, go home, this isn't going to end well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, I've had those moments myself and I've seen them for other people, and it's always kind of like I think it's, yeah, it's something I wish I'd learned sooner, but also I think everyone feels that way, you know?
Yeah, in that song, I feel like the real fascinating part is actually seeming to get a little angry at the girl for drawing the sketchy men in. Like, tell me about having that conversation with yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think that song really came from like a place of shame, and like a um just like frustration with myself that I hadn't been the person that I wanted to be. And like I'd, you know, not cared for myself in the way that I wanted to do, or in the way that I wanted to care for myself. And yeah, I think that that song is there is a lot of like anger, frustration, and self-loathing in that song.
Yeah, I mean, you do realize that to a very large extent, however the men acted is not on you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the that is always the yeah, of course. But
All right,
yeah.
well, let's hear some self-loathing. We're going to play Dear Girl, and we'll be right back.